Welcome to the 100th Monkey Radio with Tom and LFE. We are recording this on solstice.
Yes.
Hey, that's a little synchronistic aspect here. I like, we always end up having these shows on significant dates for some reason. It's kind of interesting the way that all unfolds. This is we're really excited about this show tonight. I don't have much to go on. We've got some new things that we're going to unfold at the beginning of the year about the way we're running the whole show and our subscription base. And I think it's really exciting, and it's something I haven't seen out there yet. So all of you loyal listeners out there, and those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, look forward to that, because it's really going to open up the floodgates of information for everybody out there. I'm excited about that. Yeah,
definitely. Me too. It's all about friendships and relationships. Yeah. And this will be a good thing for everybody, I think.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. It'll be a surprise.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah. No doubt, and quite a bit of work for us, actually, at least initially. But then once we get all the big heavy lifting done, it's going to be nice.
Yeah, it's going to benefit. Let's benefit the world.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah. So one thing though, Tom, I did notice. This past week I was sick. This last weekend I had the flu. Weekend before last, you were pretty sick too.
Right.
And I started thinking, it seems like almost every year around Christmas time, around this time of year, around solstice time, I get sick with the flu. And so I started thinking about it, and I remember all the way back, to when I was, 11, 12 years old, being sick around Christmas, either right before Christmas or on Christmas. And so I wonder if that, has anything to do with anything, or if that's just a cycle that, I'm on a cycle of being sick at this time of year,
we could go a lot of places with that. There's the ending of cycles on a lot of different levels.
Yes.
So getting rid of the crap that you built up through the year and releasing.
Yeah. And I was also thinking, that this is the first time that I've been aware that it repeats itself every year.
Right.
So now I'm thinking, okay, next year, I'm gonna, this shit isn't gonna happen anymore.
Well, just like I've been paying attention to the tones in my ear.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. They just started today, and we're 4 days away from
the full moon.
It's solstice number one.
Yep.
And we're just 4 days away from full moon. So it had been happening prior to the new moon.
Yeah. And
I did have some tones this month, just before the new moon, but they weren't like they had been in the past. That they were loud enough that I took note of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that same time frame, the 2 days before the new moon, and then they tapered off at the new moon. I'm just finding this very interesting, the way it's manifesting. And I don't know. I still haven't made heads or tails of it, but somewhere down the line, it's been brought into my awareness and my consciousness. So there's some significance there for me somewhere.
Yes.
And I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it'll unfold.
It'll come to me. It'll come to me. All right. Well, let's get going with the show. We have a really amazing guest for you guys tonight, and she one of the publicists we work with. Sent me this an invitation to bring this lady on the show, and as soon as I read the title of the work that she's got out there, I was like, yes, absolutely. So tonight we have Marilyn Jenett. Marilyn Jenett is a renowned prosperity mentor with an international following. She's also an accomplished entrepreneur. Her former business, Marilyn Jenett Locations, served the corporate arena for 20 years. Her achievements were the result of the prosperity principles she now teaches in her Feel Free to Prosper program, a simple yet powerful lesson and mentoring program based on mental and spiritual laws. Marilyn founded the Feel Free to Prosper program to mentor and teach others to become aligned with universal laws and accept their right to prosper. Thousands have applied her techniques to manifest striking results and learn how to put the universe on speed dial. Her fascinating memoir, Feel Free to Prosper, an entrepreneurial memoir of synchronicity and guidance, was written completely online, has attracted over 66,000 readers, countless rave reviews, and literary agents and publishing officers based on her teachings. Feel Free to Prosper, 2 Weeks to Unexpected Income, with the simplest prosperity laws available, the book based on her teaching, is published by Penguin Random House, the world's largest publisher. Her entrepreneurial memoir will soon follow. In today's economic climate, there's a vital need for the world's population to understand the underlying cause of personal financial distress, a belief that there is separation from the true source of their supply, what Jenett calls our invisible means of support. Her students learn to overcome their conditioned thinking, habitual words, criticism of money, and other aspects of consciousness that perpetrate financial lack. By practicing the principles she teaches, they learn how to create new patterns of thought and speech to begin to magnetize money instead of repelling it, and acquire a true sense of security. And most importantly, they experience proof of their alignment with the universal parent that is ready to shower each of us with gifts that are far beyond our imaginings once we learn how to receive. Marilyn is a top featured speaker for globally popular telesummit shows. Audiences embrace her authenticity and grounded teachings. Her students all over the world are fulfilling her 2-week promise with her simple, fast, and affordable self-study audio program. It's www.feelfreetoprosper.com/prosperity-program. In her first book, the public will now have access to a compilation of the finest teachings of her career. And I want to give you a big, warm 100th monkey welcome to our show, Marilyn Jenett.
Yay!
Thank you, Tom. Hello, LFE. And I'm just really honored that you're allowing me to come here and to share my experience, my knowledge with your audience. And I take it you're ready to prosper.
Oh God, yes. So Marilyn, we'd like to get, besides the bio, which is, gives us a pretty good idea of your work right now. We'd like to get an idea of where our guests actually come from and how they actually got into doing what they're doing now. So if you would share a little bit of that with us.
Thank you. If you're going to trust somebody to change your consciousness, you do need to know a little bit about them. And let me give you some background and let you know how I got here, why I'm speaking with you, what brought me to this point. To start with, my parents were good people. They were decent people, but they had a very negative consciousness about money, actually about life. And the legacy I got from them was a struggle mentality. So I know many of your listeners are going to be able to relate to that. I went into the world with this consciousness of struggle, not being able to meet my needs, but something, this is what's so important, something in my soul just drove me to find out what is going on here in this game of life. Why is it that some people can succeed and accomplish in life and others can't? And I was driven to study, and I totally just immersed myself in the teachings of the great icons that came before us. I'm talking about those legendary, the brilliant masters of mental and spiritual science. And I buried myself in their teachings, in their literature, and I had some changes. Yeah, I had some shifts, but I still wasn't at the point where I wanted to be. I wanted to make a mark in the world. I wanted to do something meaningful, like most of us. I wanted to accomplish. I just know I didn't want to be like my parents. And there came a point when I was reaching a certain milestone age, and I don't need to tell you what that age is. I said, that's it. I've had it. I am going to do this. I'm going to have a breakthrough. And I really decided, this is important. I made a decision. And it wasn't a wishy-washy decision. I just really made that decision. I was going to take everything that I had learned. And does this sound familiar? You've learned it all. You've read all the books. You have all the information in your head. But somehow you don't seem to be able to incorporate it into your everyday life.
Oh, yes.
That's what I was determined to do. And I said, I'm going to take these laws, I'm going to make them work, and I'm going to change my life. I'm going to overcome this, what I call a lack consciousness. Because I teach the power of words and how significant our words are, I don't really like to use that P word. You know the P word I'm talking about?
I do believe so.
Yeah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Poverty.
Poverty.
Yes. So let's just say lack consciousness. It's a little softer. And I made the decision that I was going to do the homework and I'm going to succeed. And what I did is I took the essence of all of this great knowledge of the prosperity laws, of these universal laws, and I put it in a very simple, doable format so that I could use and apply them. That's what I did. And I had a life-changing breakthrough. And of course, I'm skipping over a lot of the details here, but I eventually had a major breakthrough to the point where I found myself with a new business, actually in an industry that I didn't even know existed, that the universe handed me. You see, once I became aligned with that power that we're going to talk about tonight, that power, that presence that knows the answer, that knows our destiny, that knows where we belong. Once I became aligned with it, I ended up on the cover of the Los Angeles Times with my new business, a pioneer company that I created for the special event industry. And in 20 years, and again, I'm skipping over a lot of detail, but I'm going to say something literal. You might not think it's literal, but I mean this literally. Okay? In 20 years of having that business, I never advertised, I never marketed, I never cold called, I didn't join any trade organizations, and I didn't network. I didn't market. And yet, my little one-woman company here in Los Angeles, where of course millions of people come to try to achieve their dreams, my little one-woman company attracted the biggest corporations in the world as clients. And the universe handed me a business in an industry that is most impacted by negative disasters and recessions. So, yes, I was knocked down several times. There was the Los Angeles riots, Northridge earthquake, national recessions, 9/11. I kept getting knocked down. So it wasn't always easy. But you know something? Those were the times that taught me the most. That taught me what worked and what didn't work. So we either succumb to the outer circumstances, or we reach for what I call my universal life jacket, and we learn to connect. And that's what I did.
Right.
And I didn't know in all that time, you know, my 15 minutes of fame with all that publicity turned into a 20-year career.
Right.
But I didn't know in all that time that I was being groomed by this universal power that we're going to, talk about in a moment. I didn't know that I was being groomed to learn these laws so that one day I would teach and help others. And that didn't come into my awareness until, it's over 12 years now, 2003, when I was encouraged to teach. And I never even considered, the laws were my passion. These laws, what I call the prosperity laws, these mental and spiritual laws were my passion in life. But my goal was to help myself. I didn't know that I would ever be capable or have the ability to help others. But the doors opened. They started to open naturally. And I said, okay, if I'm supposed to teach these laws, then universe, give me a method, give me the gift to be able to help others, give me something simple, something easy that others can grasp easily and get results quickly so they don't have to go through my 30-year journey of study. That's 40-year journey. And from that request was born a series of lessons that I called the Feel Free to Prosper program. I had never even been online. I never even used a computer before.
Wow.
This is true. I didn't grow up with computers. But I had gotten online on a social media site, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I didn't know there was such a thing as talking to people on the internet or social media or posts and threads on forums. And I started my network called the Feel Free to Prosper Network, and it was really magical. People started to come for the lessons from all over the world, and testimonials flew in, and I was just absolutely just amazed at what was happening. But I knew in my heart that I was tuned into my destiny, because it was like breathing to me. I couldn't stop if I wanted to.
Yeah.
However, I did ask myself, how can I make a living doing this?
Right.
I was used to making big chunks of money from those corporate and convention events. And I said, how can I make a living doing this? I didn't even know there was a coaching industry. But I said, universe, give me a sign. You know, when I was first introduced to you briefly, Tom, you mentioned something about what I call responsiveness of the universe.
Right.
Well, this is a good example. I said, universe, give me a sign. Am I supposed to do this? Because I couldn't stop. As I said, it was like breathing to me. It was coming from my soul, and I just knew I had to do this. And out of the blue came a fluke phone call, not even from a business source. It was a housewife in Los Angeles calling, and she said, I know someone who's looking for a home to rent for a week. And I said, well, I'm in the special events industry. You know, sometimes we will book a home for a corporate events for a few hours, but I said, you would need to call a real estate company if you need a home for a week. And she said, no, it's for a party. And I remember thinking, a party for a week? But then again, this is Los Angeles. So.
Right.
And she said, you know, I don't know anything about it. I'll have someone call you. I hung up the phone, figured it was nothing. Half an hour later, I heard from a gentleman back east, and it was a marketing company. And he said, someone just handed me your number. We have been looking for 6 months for the right mansion for our client for a promotion, and someone gave me your number. Well, that client was Campbell Soup, and they spent, over the next 3 years, they spent over $450 million to promote to children. And I was their key vendor. I used the prosperity laws to manifest the most amazing locations for these promotions. You know, on my website, you can see the castle in England and the Hollywood mansions and the island in the Caribbean. And you see, what happened is the universe was saying to me, you just keep doing what you're doing. You help people with your teachings. You'll be provided for. I'll take care of you. And that's exactly what happened. And I did 6 promotions for Campbell's for the 3 years. And after that, I told them I just can't do it anymore. And actually, they took very little of my time, by the way. But it was time to let go and to fully embrace my new life as a prosperity teacher. And that was the cushion to help me build Feel Free to Prosper. And Feel Free to Prosper took off. And I pretty much just released my former business because this is my mission. This is my sole mission in life. It's taking my experience, my knowledge, and bringing it to others so they can benefit. And that's my legacy. That's the legacy I want to leave.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. So you said earlier about mental and spiritual laws. Could you explain a little more in depth what you mean by the mental and spiritual laws?
Okay. Okay. So yeah, before we get into the other topics tonight, I know this may be a very savvy audience, but many people are familiar with the metaphysical concepts and the universal laws. But I think this foundation that I like to do for every interview, it will be for the benefit of those who are not familiar with these kinds of teachings. And, you know, from this foundation, you'll have a better understanding of the topics we're going to talk about. So this is my perspective, my views on what are these mental and spiritual laws, the laws we talk about. And I think this will give you a nice matrix. And I like that word, matrix. So everyone, all of you who are listening, this will give you something to process, and you'll have a better understanding of the techniques and the topics that I cover. So what are these laws, these mental and spiritual laws? Well, the universe as we know it, as we see it and experience it, is not all there is. The universe is always in motion. We know that. It's vibrating, pulsating, resonating. It's a magnetizing force. And we also know that at the molecular level, everything is in motion. It's pure energy. So what we are talking about here is this pure, formless substance of the universe. Now, we could think of this in spiritual terms as God, higher power, spirit, or the universe. We can address it mentally as infinite intelligence, universal mind, divine mind, formless substance. Or we can think of it scientifically as energy or relativity. And some people take a giant leap into the area of quantum physics, where it's known as the field of all possibilities. And, you know, I really believe this is such a great age of discovery we live in. We have the mental, the spiritual, the scientific aspect of the laws of life. And it's all there. It's all there for the asking. So this power, however you perceive it, is the source of everything we desire. It's awaiting our recognition, and it will create, attract, guide us to inspired action, magnetize, and mold itself to whatever form we desire if we align ourselves with it through certain laws, called universal laws. Now, what are these laws? Well, we know that there are laws of physics, laws of chemistry, laws of mathematics, but most people are not aware of the laws that govern the mental and spiritual realms, the creative laws of the universe that actually govern our existence. Or you may know something about them, but don't know how to relate to them or how to use them. So how do we know these laws even exist, or that this universe or power exists? Aside from any intuitive feeling that it does, or because Marilyn here says it does, we know because of its responsiveness. Going back to that responsiveness topic, that we know by the results we experience when we align ourselves with it. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, once you become aware of the response of this universal presence, you'll never be the same.
Right.
You're going to feel a love. You're going to feel a connection, a sense of security that is greater than anything you have ever felt on an earthly level. This has also helped me to believe that this is a very loving presence. So these laws work for everyone. The law of gravity works for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Successful people are using the mental and spiritual laws. They just may not realize they're doing so. And guess what? Each of you listening, you are using these laws all of the time, whether you realize it or not. Only you are most likely not using them for the purpose and intention that you desire consciously. How many times have you attracted things into your life that you feel you did nothing to deserve, and you ask, why did this happen? Remember, the universal laws are simple. The way I teach them, it's the simplicity of the laws. The actual principles, the techniques that relate to the laws are surprisingly simple, and we humans complicate it. Let's use the law of gravity. It's a good example. We don't have to have a vast knowledge of the laws of physics to understand how gravity works. We know that if we step off a tall building, we will fall.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person who actually likes to put the key in the car and drive it, and I let the mechanics, handle what's under the hood. I love simplicity. That's the whole basis of my teachings. We know that if we align ourselves with this law correctly, we won't have any mishaps. And it's exactly the same with the mental and spiritual laws. If we align ourselves with them correctly, we don't have mishaps, and instead we experience joyful results. So, how do we align ourselves with it? We connect with this power, this creative force of the universe, within, through the channel of our subconscious minds, through our thoughts and our feelings. The subconscious mind is the most fantastic computer you could ever imagine. It keeps our heart beating, our lungs breathing, has a perfect memory of every cell in our body, and it has also recorded and stored everything that we have ever heard, said, felt, and experienced. Unfortunately, that includes all of the faulty beliefs and the negative patterns from others that we've acquired from the time we were very young, or through our lifetime. Many of us change our consciousness, in adulthood, just through circumstances that suddenly shift everything in the wrong direction.
2x4s.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Our thoughts and our feelings, our deepest beliefs, are the key to connecting with the power that responds to our desires. But we first must break through and overcome the negative thought patterns and beliefs that we've acquired since childhood. Now, this is something that's very interesting that my students love to hear. We cannot delete anything from the subconscious mind. So don't let anybody tell you could take out negative thoughts. No, it's all going to be there forever. But it's not necessary to do so. We don't have to eliminate all the negative thoughts and beliefs and the negative mindset. In order to shift our consciousness, we create a new dominant thought. So the subconscious doesn't like to change. It will create resistance. We know that from attempting to break a habit. But there are techniques and methods for influencing the subconscious in a way that does not create argument. I call this friendly persuasion. We gently shift the consciousness to create a new dominant thought in the mind. And that is the key, the dominant thought. The dominant thought in our conscious and subconscious is what determines our circumstances. Why do we attract those things we don't desire? Those results are the outcropping of the thoughts and impressions that are established in the mind subconsciously. So we must shift our consciousness to a new dominant awareness, a new thought and new awareness. And when we do so, we then open ourselves to the influence of the creative power and the universe. It's what I call the invisible means of support. Because everything the subconscious records, everything that you've ever heard or said or felt, as I said, is a perfect memory, whether you're conscious of it or not. And this is interesting. Often the more casual words are the ones that drop into the subconscious more easily and are accepted because you're not monitoring them or refuting them. Now, here's an analogy. I think you'll like this. I use this analogy. My students love this. I share it often. And this is related to manifesting our desires by creating agreement between the conscious and subconscious minds. Let's think of the conscious mind as the husband, the assertive male aspect of mind. And again, we're not talking about real life genders. We're talking about aspects of mind. So the husband is the assertive male aspect of mind. The husband impregnates the wife, the receptive female aspect of mind. When the subconscious becomes impregnated with the new seed thought, the new idea, then from this union, children are born. These children are your answered prayers, your desired results. So it is through this marriage of the conscious and subconscious minds, when they both agree on an idea, that the idea will become manifest. So what we are doing, we must teach the husband how to impregnate the wife. We make a decision with our conscious mind. We use our conscious mind to instill this idea into the subconscious until it is accepted. And once the seed has been accepted in the soil of mind, it will grow and manifest just as a seed planted in the ground will become a plant or a flower or a tree. But first we must do our job and plant the seed. And then we nurture the soil with positive thoughts and expectation. And then we turn over the job to universal mind, to the creative forces. We can relax and let go. No one here, I don't care how great of a gardener you are, nobody here can make that seed grow.
Right.
We relax and let go. Our manifestation will come. There's no such thing as half pregnant. Our baby will be born.
Right.
So our baby will be born. Now, from this foundation I've given you, I'd like you to just contemplate this message. Here's the important, really the real message in what I've just shared with you. I want you to come to a clear understanding that you do not carry the burden of manifestation on your shoulders. You have at your disposal the creative forces of the entire universe waiting to do your bidding if you will just do your part to apply the rules. The only thing that's important is to learn how the system works and use it. And it reminds me, someone once asked Henry Ford what electricity was. He said, "Madam, it just is. Use it."
Right.
That's it. That's the basis of mental and spiritual laws.
Yeah. You know, we have a horrendous tendency to, at least I've noted within myself, I have a tendency to sabotage myself. You know, I'll go through all these processes and you know, work on bringing something into my life, whatever the widget is that I'm focusing on at the moment. Mm-hmm. And then there's that, can't, or it isn't, or the subtlety. I found that the subtlety in the words that I use, even though my intention and what I'm thinking about as I'm saying it is golden and is exactly what I want. But the words that I use, the actual words that I use are actually not very conducive to bringing it about. They don't compute with the universe. So I guess, you know, I guess what I'm fishing for here, or I guess here's I know that there's a little bullet in here that you have in here, the 3 words you should never utter again if you want true prosperity. I think that fits here, right?
Interesting how you focus just on that. The 3 words. See how simple the simple thing caught your eye, right?
Yeah.
Simplicity. You want to go right for those 3 words.
Oh no.
Well, I'm going to give you those words tonight. But I want to address what you just said about why
please do.
To pretty much work against what it is that you consciously wanted, and that's kind of related to what I just shared about the marriage of the conscious and the subconscious.
Right.
And you see what's happening. Your conscious desire, you know what you want, but you haven't succeeded in reaching the subconscious to accept that idea. You said something in the introduction, LFE. If I may address that.
Yeah.
You said something like, well, you keep saying to yourself, this shit isn't going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
Remember I said that?
Yes.
And the interesting thing is, I want you to know this, that the subconscious mind it filters out the lesser words, the verbs and the lesser words. What it's going to really focus. In other words, an example would be I will no longer be a smoker, for example. Well, the subconscious doesn't hear no longer. It only hears the word smoker, the dominant word. So when you said this shit isn't going to happen anymore, what it's really hearing is this shit.
Oh,
You're going to sorry, you said it, not me. But what I'm saying is it's going to grasp and accept the dominant word. So, for example, someone like that wants to stop smoking, instead of using that word, I would have them say something. I only live my life with healthful, life-enhancing. I only participate in life-enhancing habits or healthful habits.
Yes.
You completely go to do a complete shift. You want to go to what you want, and you never want to focus on what you don't want. Now, Tom, the words you're using when you want to create something to manifest, as you were saying, is it possible that the words you are using are actually keeping you keeping your subconscious from accepting your desire?
That's exactly right. And I've noted that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Then back to the dominant word. And there are two ways that the subconscious mind can accept new thoughts and new ideas and words. And one is through faith and one is through repetition. The repetition with feeling is even more powerful. Parrot-like repetition is not as effective as creating a new dominant thought with new words that have feeling to them. It will eventually take in the subconscious. I'm going to give you those three words. First, if I may, I'm going to talk a little bit. Would it be appropriate if I were to actually read a chapter from the book?
Sure, absolutely.
Because it's so vital, and we're talking about words tonight, and I think this will really help everyone understand just how powerful the words are. I mean, I could paraphrase and make it shorter, but I think the chapter really gets to the point. Is that okay?
Please do. Yes. Please do.
This is chapter 8 from Feel Free to Prosper. In the beginning was the Word. The foundation of the Feel Free to Prosper teachings is the Word. Whether we have a religious affiliation or none at all, at some point in time, most have probably heard this is from the Bible. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That's from John. And I'm not a biblical scholar. I just happen to have been shown those scriptures that were so important to my work. They just came to me when they had to. Now, since Feel Free to Prosper is not a religious teaching, but is based on spiritual law, for our study, let's substitute the word law for God. And that would make it, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was law, and the Word was law. You see that meaning there?
Right.
The Word is law. In the beginning lessons of the Feel Free to Prosper teachings, a primary purpose is to help my students come to a clear-cut understanding and grasp just how powerful their word is, the spoken word and especially the written word. Our words become our claim, the imprinting of our desires on universal mind substance, our claim to our natural inheritance. Our word is the bridge between our heartfelt desires and our Creator, God, universe, spirit, infinite intelligence, divine mind, Lord, law, which has the ways and means and know-how to turn our words into flesh. Our word is our manifesting connection to the Lord, law of our being. Our word becomes flesh, meaning form and material, when we make and stake our claim with faith and expectation. And this is one of my quotes. Our word is the manifesting mechanism in our fulfillment factory. Our word becomes the law of our being. Now, when we say on one hand that we want this thing, but continue to express words that represent the opposite of our desire, we succeed in perpetuating the same unwanted conditions, and we do not reach our fulfillment or freedom state. When we say on one hand that we want this thing and also say and write and express words that represent our desire, we succeed in creating space for that desire to rush in, and we attract it and reach our freedom state. Our word becomes flesh, our physical, tangible, fulfilled desire. In more clinical terms, we have then succeeded in creating an agreement of the desired idea between our conscious and subconscious minds. And when both aspects of mind agree on the same idea, our desire becomes manifest. We cannot have it both ways. We cannot want one thing and express its opposite and expect the powerful laws of the universe to work on our behalf. You cannot claim to feel prosperous and then state that there's no way to pay your bills within the next couple of weeks. That very statement will ensure that the ways to pay those obligations will not get through to you, because those words have now become your law and beautifully represent a law of lack, your self-fulfilled prophecy. The law never stops working for you, and you can't stop using it, but you can keep using it to manifest what you do not want, or you can learn to use it purposefully and in alignment with the abundance that universally exists for everyone, including you. I cannot teach these principles and at the same time watch on as students express the very opposite of this powerful principle. That would be inauthentic on my part as a devoted teacher of the laws, but more importantly, it will not help them or others who wish to become aligned with the laws. So I am quick to alert a student if I feel he or she is not aligned with the fulfilling law of their being. It is not that I am without empathy or compassion. They are very important parts of my path, but my mission is to teach you the power of the words you choose. So the very best in empathy, compassion, and inspiration that I can offer is to firmly encourage you to choose your words and language as if your life and conditions depend on them, because they do. You say that you need an answer. There is always an answer. There is always a solution. The universe and the law has ways that you could never imagine, but you must invite these answers and solutions with your words. We are not lying. We are not ignoring reality. We are creating a new reality, and the reality that we truly desire. Our words create our feelings. Our words and feelings create our reality. A reality that is moldable and always subject to change. But an amazing realization. We must do our part, and then the law of our being will do its part. Our words will not return to us void. And that's from the book.
Wow.
What do you think?
A powerful chapter.
Yes.
Does that give you a better understanding of just how powerful your words are?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So you want those 3 words?
Sure.
I teach you with that?
Sure. The 3 words.
All right. Actually, as I said, I'm not a woman of few words. I like to give you a little dramatic introduction.
Should we hold the 3 words over to the second hour? We've got about 15 minutes here.
I think we could. Let's do it. We could do it. Okay.
So
let me ask you this: What do you think is the single most immediate, based on what we've been talking about? What do you think is the single most immediate thing you can do right now to increase your income?
Definitely change the way I speak. Change the way I think, the way I express.
Change. It also sounds like change the emotional connection. When you're not only speaking a word, but emotionally feeling what that word means. So if you're saying I want to be prosperous, in that moment feeling prosperous.
Exactly, both. Change your words, and yes, if you could change the feelings, because not only will it bring you what you want, but those same words with feeling will bring you what you don't want. So that's why this is important. So change the words. The most immediate thing you can do. Everyone listening to this interview, you could start this right away. Hang up from the interview, you could begin this immediately. Change the words that you speak to reflect those spoken by a successful person, words that represent what you want in life. Eliminate all words or phrases from your vocabulary that represent the opposite of what you want. I have a quote that everyone loves. If you don't want it, don't say it. That's easy to remember. If you don't want it, don't say it. Marilyn told me, if you don't want it, don't say it. You can begin this right now, this very moment. Changing your thoughts will usually take a bit longer, but by changing your words, you're on your way to changing those undesirable thought patterns. Your words have tremendous power. Believe it. Do not doubt this for a moment. Think open sesame. So, how many times today have you said aloud or to yourself, even casually, I can't afford?
Yeah. Can I count on both hands?
Actually, you know,
Does that hit any nerves anywhere here in our collective arena for this call? Anybody thinking, oh, that wouldn't be me?
that C word is one of my flag words.
Yep.
I throw flags. And whenever I'm speaking or thinking or doing something, I have a few real major keys that trigger me to throw a flag and check myself. And that word is one of those that I throw flags on. So I'm doing really well with that one.
Remember the little engine? You know, sometimes we have little images or visualizations that help to remind us of things. Mm-hmm. Remember that little engine that said, I can, I think I can.
Yes.
I can, I think I can, right?
Good.
Our childhood. Right. Well, it's time for you to start, yes, I can. Yes, I can. You don't even have to have full affirmations. Words, just even the single words will process. Often the affirmations there's a chapter in the book about why affirmations may not work. Yes, they're very powerful, but if people use affirmations all the time. And for, you know, maybe 80% they don't work because they're not worded correctly. They're things you need to know. But words, you don't even have to have a full affirmation. You just say the word. Say the word. Say it simply. Yes, I can. Just a simple phrase. I can.
Yes, I can.
Yes. And it will create a new dominant thought, and your mind will get the new message, and it'll stop. One of the first things that happens with my students, that their mind starts grasping the new message, and they find themselves catching, oh, I almost said that, because they weren't aware of it before. But now your mind is going to say, wait a minute, we have a new message of prosperity here. Nope, can't say that. Your mind will, you see, your subconscious becomes your friend. When you use these prosperity teachings, your subconscious becomes your friend because now it knows what you really want. So that's your homework, Tom. We need to start using the word that you do want. You can. Even if you don't believe it at first. As I say, we're not lying. We're creating a new reality.
Right.
So even if at first you feel like you're lying, that's just your subconscious wanting to stay where it is. Just keep going. You will get the message. It's like training a new puppy, you know, to not pee on the carpet.
Right.
You know, it gets the message. You can train the subconscious. So that's your job.
Hmm. So we got the C word. What's the other ones?
The T word.
The T word.
The try.
Try.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk in the second hour. We're going to talk about the
Okay.
Law of reversed effort and trying. That's a great topic.
Yeah.
So what are the or does this tie right in with the same words that we habitually use that are preventing us from being successful and prosperous?
Well, again, you know, every word we speak, every thought we think, every emotion we feel, it's recorded in the subconscious. And we're going to attract, you know, our subconscious will create subjectively what we're saying. It thinks it's an order. Think of the subconscious as, you know, you're in the restaurant and you're putting in an order. And, you know, it's something interesting is that I say the subconscious can't take a joke. So even harmless expressions, it's true. Even harmless expressions, if accepted by the subconscious, can produce undesirable results in our lives. There is something in medicine, actually, I learned about decades ago. It's called organ language. And this is so tied into all of that medical area ties in with what these great teachers taught about the power of our words and the mind-body connection. And it's becoming more prevalent now, that knowledge. But many people don't know about organ language. In other words, if someone has a pet expression such as, oh, that's a pain in the neck. Yeah, she gives me a pain in the neck. Yeah, start saying, and what happens is you start, literally, your subconscious will process that, and you will come out, you know, you'll have neck problems. You'll start having a physical ailment, or that makes me sick at my stomach. You know, those pet expressions that people use?
Right.
Yeah, and I could tell you a joke about somebody I knew years ago, but maybe not. Maybe not for radio. It's cute, but yeah, we'll pass on that one. But yes, There was a story in the great Dr. Joseph Murphy. He had a story. I knew Dr. Murphy. He lived over here near Oakhurst. He was my first teacher in this field. He was the one that started me on the path. Dr. Joseph Murphy, who wrote The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. He's one of the great icons, and I was so blessed. And it was destiny. I know I was supposed to meet him, but he had a story in, I believe it was Dr. Murphy, I'm pretty sure, about a woman that used to say, I don't see it, like to mean I don't understand it. I can't see that. I don't, and she started going blind.
Wow.
And when she stopped using that expression, her eyesight cleared up. But you see, the subconscious can't take the joke. I mean, we're not talking about an occasional ha-ha joke. We're talking about repeated expressions that the subconscious believes is an order. So it's really important that we open those words. And life-enhancing, prosperous, success-oriented words will produce results that correspond and can bring about those results. How many people in these past years since 2008 have said the word recession?
Right.
How many times have you said, and you see, we can't have it both ways. We can't want one thing and express its opposite and expect the laws of the universe to work for us. So what I'm saying is, the words that you repeat, the habitual words, those habits, words sometimes are habits. Let me tell you a story. I think we have a couple minutes here.
Yeah.
When I used to, I don't do personal mentoring anymore. I'm just much too busy. But when I used to talk to people on the phone, or they'd call me up, I could listen for 5 minutes, and I knew where their mindset was. There was one woman that called me, and she was inquiring about mentoring. And I actually made little, we used to make those marks on a paper to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you put the line through at 5.
Right.
I forgot what that's called, railroading or something. And I actually did that while she was talking. And I counted about 20, 25 times that she used the word struggled over and over. And when I brought that up, she didn't even know she was using it. I think I have I mentioned a story in my book about a friend of mine who got divorced, went back into the working world after 20 years raising her kids. And she used to call me up, and she was helping out friends in their offices, just until she decided what she wanted to do. I think she had her previous career 20 years before was in advertising. But she said, I'm helping out so-and-so and making a little money. And I noticed that every time she said the word money, she would say little money. And I said, Susan, do you realize that you're always saying little money? She didn't know she was saying it. Those are habitual words. Those are things you might want to have somebody listen to a telephone conversation or put on a recording, and you don't play act just for the recording. You speak naturally. See if you're using those words. Have somebody tell you, are you using any negative words? Because a lot of times those habitual words, we are not aware of it. They're just habits. Plainly habits, but they will keep you where you don't want to go.
Right. Yeah. And that's this whole, I'm so glad we have you on the show tonight. This whole topic has been very, 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 in my face, very, poignant. For me in the last year, especially. The words that we use, the way we express, and the reflectivity of universe, the way it absolutely reflects what we are putting out into the world. It's just, I'm just so grateful.
Yes.
Not that I hit home. I'm happy with that.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful. And just remember that your words. And there are many more aspects to the teachings and laws, but that one is the foundation because it's so vital. And just think of your words as being the pipeline. Your words reach the subconscious, which is your pipeline, your conduit to universal mind. And who doesn't want to be connected to the greatest power in the universe that is there to do our bidding? Who doesn't want that?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And a little effort to change your words the lazy ones won't get anywhere. You can't be lazy, but it's not hard work. It's simple. It's all very simple.
Yeah.
And it becomes more simple as you apply these. I don't believe in hard labor for changing your consciousness. That's why what worked for me was the simplicity of the techniques and the format and the teachings. And that's why it works. That's why, because I only teach what I use for myself. I don't teach anything that I haven't personally experienced or used. And that was just, universe gave me, that was my blessing, is to be able to do this work and to be given the background. But you know what's the greatest part is I know, and that's why I went through all that stuff.
Right, right.
There was a reason for it all, because I was supposed to be a teacher. That was really enlightening to look back and say, oh, now I see it. But the reason for our stuff is to alert us it's a mirror. It's to let us know that we are not aligned with who and what we really are, and to get us on track. That's it.
Right. You know, one of the biggest fringe benefits that I've noted over the last year, since I've really been paying attention to my own thoughts and my own words, has been my overall level of happiness has been gradually and continually raising. So it's just my joy in life has been increasing as time goes on, and I become better and better at well, you know, there is a level of monitoring that really has to happen. You have to be very aware of what you're saying and how you're saying it, especially initially, and then it becomes habit, where your natural dialogue becomes much more positive.
What you said that you said at the beginning, it takes more effort, right? You're saying it initially.
It does take some monitoring. I mean,
yes,
it does.
But I have some news for you, Tom.
Okay, I know. I just put a negative in there.
No. I just can't wait to share the good news.
Okay.
If I may, do a little plug towards the book here. My Feel Free to Prosper program is a 2-month program. And what has made it so successful over the last 10 years worldwide is because of that lesson 1 of the program does create 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks unexpected income. And every, prosperity isn't only about income. These laws can be applied to any area of life. But I made the decision when I was asked to do a book based on my teachings that I would take that lesson 1 out of not take it out of the program, but give the readers of my book lesson 1. It's the first time, that book is the first time that any of my proprietary lesson material from my flagship program has been exposed to the public, and not just to the students who were doing the 2-month program. So the book, the last part of the book is that lesson 1. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that it's my techniques that create that change without having to monitor and all the effort that it would take otherwise. It's those special techniques that I mentioned earlier about friendly persuasion.
I haven't got to that part of the book yet.
You will, and I think you will love it. You will simple 15 minutes a day of homework. You're going to love it, because you won't have to consciously work at it. That's the beauty of it, is that there are very simple ways to reach the subconscious without having to go through all of that effort. So if that was okay.
I'm excited to finish the book now.
Don't listen to him. He's going to go to that book and he's going to go right to part 5. I'll bet you're going to go right on. You'll start. That's okay. Go start. You could read the book and stay, but go start on the lesson. I think you'll be delighted at how the simplicity and how much more easy it is when you have the help of those techniques. So
I'll be looking into that tonight. So how does the full-blown process work? And we've got just a few minutes left in the first hour here. I mean, if somebody wanted to take the full program, how does that process work? Where do they contact you at, and how do they start the ball rolling?
Well, actually, I think they should buy the book, and they will have lesson 1 in the book. There's also a link in the lesson that takes them to the companion group mentoring session that went with that lesson. So they have that. It's at no charge. They will get a password to be able to go and listen to the audio. And then once they finish lesson 1 for that 2 weeks, that's 2 week. We do each lesson in the Feel Free to Prosper program for 2 weeks, because it takes the 2 weeks to create. It can happen sooner. For many students, it happens in days, but 2 weeks to make sure that they create a new neural pathway in the brain, that the subconscious mind accepts it. So my recommendation is that they get the book, read the book, the teachings, do the lesson 1 do it for 2 weeks. If they're excited and they love what's happening, there is actually a special a page at the end of the book that sends the readers or the listeners, but I should say this, the listeners of the audiobook, because there's Kindle, there's print book, and there's also, I narrated the audiobook, but we'll send either the listeners or the readers at the end of the book. If they want to continue with the full program, they will click a link and they will have a highly discounted price for the Feel Free to Prosper program. So they don't need to buy it at retail on the website.
Bonus.
And they have two weeks to test my teachings and see if my promise of 2 weeks works. In this way, it's I'm all about gentle and making it as easy as I can for students. So yes, that's my recommendation.
And website is feelfreetoprosper.com.
Actually, for the book that's my website, and the book page is for them to see more about the book, and they can order. And there's also links for international. I was so excited to find, I didn't know this, I have the greatest publisher. They are so wonderful, but they always surprise me. They don't tell me beforehand about these things. It wasn't until I started hearing from my students in other countries that I found out the book is available in every country in the world, and every Amazon. Every Amazon has the book, and we put those links. Also, on the book page, there's an international orders link, though, because I know that your show, all the radio shows now are are online.
Right.
They appear online, so a lot of international people will also want to see more. So that link for the book is feelfreetoprosperbook.com.
Okay, fantastic. We will make sure
the website is Feel Free.
Make sure that link is on the page also.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff, guys, and I am I'm having a great time listening and talking with you tonight, Marilyn. This is thank you so much for joining us, and I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and listening to the Hundredth Monkey Radio. Like we said at the beginning of the show, we've got some exciting things coming up next year. We're unveiling at the beginning of the year. I think everybody's going to really like and be very grateful for. And man, look forward to another going. We're well into year 7 now, so we are keep moving forward and bringing this great material out to you guys. Mm-hmm. And let's make all of our lives prosperous. Let's spread this around the planet. Good stuff.
Yes.
We'll hit the 100th monkey on prosperity. Right?
There we go.
There we go.
Go have your 100th. Okay, on your 100th episode. Well, how many episodes have you done?
We're at 200. I think this is 270 something.
Oh, I wondered if on episode 100, did 100 monkeys show up, or did you have something?
I don't even remember what the 5th episode was. All right, good stuff. We will see you guys in hour 2. If you're out there listening on one of the other formats, I urge you to go over to www.the100thmonkeyradio.com and check out all the material we have there, the 6+ years of archives and all sorts of fun stuff. So we will see you guys in hour 2. Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance.
Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change.
Namaste, friends.
Excellent.